In the beginning, Earth whispered. Not in words, not in storms, but in a deep, trembling murmur that ran beneath mountains, oceans, forests, and cities. It was a pulse older than memory, a rhythm forgotten by civilizations that had grown blind to the world that birthed them. Humanity called it seismic activity. Other species called it warning. But Earth itself called it awakening. For thousands of years, humans had extracted, drilled, burned, cut, reshaped, and commanded the planet as if it were a captive machine. Every species knew it. Every species witnessed it. Every species accepted their fate in silence. Until the day they refused to stay silent. Until the moment Earth finally opened its ancient eyes. And civilization trembled under the weight of its own sins. Aaron Rahim pressed his hand against the ground, his heart sinking to the pattern beneath the soil. Thump. Pause. Thump thump. Pause. It felt like a heartbeat, slow, deliberate, impossibly alive. He was a geophysical researcher stationed in the remote northern highlands, where the land was old enough to remember the world before humans. His instruments recorded a repeating vibration impossible to classify, not tectonic plates, not magma movement, not industrial disturbance. The soil had rhythm. He shared his findings with the local elders, expecting skepticism. Instead, Elder Myra only sighed, her eyes reflecting a sadness older than science. It begins again, she whispered. What begins? Aaron asked. The Earth's anger. The 5th time in the cycle. Aaron blinked. Cycle? She nodded. 5 civilizations erased before yours. 5 warnings ignored. The number is sacred because it is the count of endings. He dismissed it as folklore until the world proved her right. Bird migrations shifted dramatically. Dolphins refused to approach coasts. Insects formed spiraling masses that moved away from human settlements. Plants in the region grew in strange, deliberate patterns, as if aligning themselves to some hidden geometry. Governments called them coincidences. Scientists called them anomalies. But Aaron began to suspect something terrifying. Earth wasn't changing. Earth was responding. Within months, the world transformed. Birds stopped singing altogether. Their silence was not fear, it was declaration. Predators ceased hunting near cities. Elephants formed protective circles around forests, refusing entry to humans. Wolves gathered in packs and stared at passing vehicles, as if memorizing them. The oceans behaved the strangest. Whales communicated in frequencies that caused ships' metal hulls to vibrate. Schools of fish migrated in massive spirals, forming patterns visible from satellites, patterns eerily similar to the rhythmic pulse Aaron detected in the soil. Aaron, studying the satellite data, found something hidden in the spirals. A message. A warning. A sentence written by millions of living beings acting in perfect unity. Distance yourselves from the enslavers. And the enslavers, Aaron realized, were humans. What stunned him was not the hostility. It was the fact that the entire ecosystem, across continents and species, agreed. They had endorsed humanity's enslavement of Earth for centuries. They endured pollution, habitat destruction, mass extinction. They accepted the role of victims. But now, they refused. And the planet listened. The first disaster struck quietly. In Iceland, 5 volcanoes erupted simultaneously, something geologists deemed impossible. Ash clouds darkened the sky, blocking sunlight for weeks. Rivers near the eruptions boiled. Lightning storms tore through the ash plumes like flaming spears. Then came the floods in Asia. The droughts in Africa. The tornado clusters in North America. Not random. Not natural. Not accidents. Deliberate. Earth wasn't aiming to kill humanity. It was targeting their systems. Their buildings, their machines, their infrastructure. Cities built on coasts flooded. Cities built on plains cracked. Cities built on mountains shook until their foundations screamed. The planet was not murdering people. It was erasing everything people built. And the message was clear. Return what you took. Ancient microbes thawed from glaciers, reactivating. But oddly, they didn't infect humans. They infected concrete, weakening it. Metal structures rusted overnight. Plastics disintegrated into dust. Civilization began dissolving like paper in water. Aaron watched it all and realized. Earth wasn't just alive. It was intelligent. New York's skyline fell like dominoes under storm winds that behaved as if guided by invisible hands. Tokyo's bullet trains derailed after the tracks bent upward, lifted by rising roots from the supposedly dead soil beneath. Istanbul's ancient monuments cracked along geometric fault lines that hadn't shifted in centuries. Every city fell differently, as if Earth studied each one and exposed its weakest point. Aaron went live on international broadcasts, pleading. Earth is not malfunctioning, it is responding to us. This is retaliation. A reset. He became a global figure, the unwilling prophet of planetary rebellion. The results of Earth's retaliation worsened. Crops refused to grow in human-altered soil. Domesticated animals rejected commands and fled. The oceans pushed ships back with unnatural currents. Airplanes found the sky suddenly uncooperative. Humanity entered freefall. Every species had once silently accepted Earth's enslavement under human rule. Now Earth rejected every chain, every drill, every ounce of arrogance humanity ever offered. And the world humans thought belonged to them began to vanish. Aaron turned to ancient scriptures, myths, and geological layers that most scholars dismissed as superstition. What he found shook him more than any disaster. 5 times in pre-recorded history, civilizations far older than Egypt, Sumer, or the Indus Valley had vanished. Cities of stone melted without fire. Artifacts showed signs of pressure and heat no human technology could explain. The ancients didn't record wars or plagues. They recorded Earth's judgment. And the pattern was numerical. The number 5 repeated everywhere. 5 cycles of creation. 5 elemental guardians. 5 resets. 5 eras of humanity lost to time. Aaron realized the horrifying truth. Humanity had reached the threshold for the 6th erasure. Earth had allowed 5 civilizations to rise before humanity. All 5 enslaved the planet. All 5 were wiped out. History wasn't recorded in books. It was recorded in stone and silence. Now humans stood where they once stood, facing the same ultimatum. Recognize Earth as a living entity, or be erased like the others. Aaron prepared a final message to the world, knowing most would ignore him. The world split into 2 factions. The Dominion nations, wealthy, militaristic, and determined to suppress the planet's rebellion using geoengineering. They launched Project Dominion, a chain of orbital machines designed to control weather, stabilize tectonic plates, and override Earth's systems. To them, Earth was a malfunctioning appliance. The Earth Accord, indigenous coalitions, spiritual groups, environmental scientists, and survivors who believed surrender was the only path. They argued humans must return land, end extraction, and coexist with nature. To them, Earth was a conscious guardian. Battle lines were drawn not just on land, but in ideology. When Dominion activated their machines, attempting to electrically bind the atmosphere, Earth's response was immediate. A shockwave erupted from the mantle. A hum that grew into a roar. A roar that grew into a scream. A scream that shattered mountains. Tectonic plates shifted as if brushing off insects. Oceans surged in spirals 5 miles wide. Forests rose and fell like breathing lungs. The Earth was no longer whispering. It was speaking. Aaron stood at the epicenter, where the ground parted gently before him, not in violence, but in recognition. The soil pulsed beneath his feet. Thump. Pause. Thump thump. He finally understood. Earth was not vengeance. Earth was balance. Earth was life demanding respect. Aaron raised his voice, knowing the entire world was listening through cracked screens and powerless radios. Humanity has two choices: coexistence or oblivion. Earth will erase our civilization, but not our species. We decide whether we rise again or vanish like the five before us. The wind carried his words. The ground steadied. The storm paused. The planet waited for humanity's answer. And for the first time in history, humans realized the truth they feared most. Earth did not belong to them. They belonged to Earth.